Okay, today we're going to do a quick stretch for your hamstrings, a little bit for your hips, with a pose called Supta Padangusthasana. For practice today, you can see I have two blankets. I have a blanket unfolded on the floor to lay on. I have another one for head support. Not totally necessary. I have this brick here, which you can replace with a pillow, or if you have a bolster or foam roller will work here too. And then a belt. Quick word about the belt. This is a 10-foot belt. If you don't have a 10-foot belt, it's not a big deal. These are great though, and I fully endorse owning one. I'll show you why when we're done with practice, why the 10-foot's great. If you don't have a 10-foot belt, whatever belt you have works. If you have the ability to make a loop with that belt, right? So taking the tag ends of the belt, you can see I have this one, has a clasp on it, but if you take the tag ends of your belt and just tie a knot with those tag ends, that'll give you a loop. And the reason why I like the loop is because it gives you these two handles here to hold on to. So I'll leave this belt knotted so you can see how we'll practice. Also using the wall for your lowered leg, and I'll use a timer. This is a practice where we'll spend a lot of time in one or two positions, and so the timer's good so that you know if you're balanced out on both sides. So we'll begin lying on our backs with support under your head, and the blanket here on the floor slides, so I'm extending my left leg, pushing myself a little bit away from the wall, and then taking the belt up over the sole of my right foot and catching the loops here. All right, so I've doubled the big loop over the sole of my right foot, and I'm catching the handled pieces here with my hands. I find that this grip is most comfortable over long periods of time, and we'll be here for a couple minutes on each side. The overhand grip, if you were just to grip overhand like this, I do find that this, it's effective, and if you're only here for like a minute or two, it works, but for what we're doing today, we're gonna use this grip with your hands through the loops as we get going. So, first things first, extend your left leg, and as you straighten your left leg, that's the one closer to the floor here, the back of your left thigh should come a little closer to the floor. With your right leg, we'll take a look at the rotation of your right leg and point your toes kind of towards your right shoulder. So if you come into the pose and your toes point in or your toes point out, we'll just adjust the rotation of your leg, right? Next piece we'll look at is your foot, right? Sometimes when people come into this, the big toe side of their foot's closer to their face than the pinky toe side of their foot. So imagine you had a plate on the sole of your foot and you were trying to balance that plate on the sole of your foot. If you like to, you can do that with a brick. Nice soft foam brick would be my recommendation. But for today, just using the strap and stretching the back of your leg. So you should feel there's a stretch to the back of your right leg here. The toes of your right foot, you can pull back towards your face and reach up through your heel. If you find that as you take your right leg up or your left leg, your knee won't straighten, you find that your leg shakes, there's excessive tightness in the back of your leg, the best solution here is just to back off a little. Don't take your foot as close to your face, let it come a little bit away. Focus on extension, right? Getting your leg straight, and then start bringing your leg back up. At some point here, with your arms, there's diminishing returns. So you can pull up to a certain point, and then after a certain point, it really works best to use the muscles of your right leg, and with your left leg pushing off the wall, use the muscles of your right leg to take your foot closer to your face. All right, so we've been here for about 2.5 minutes. We'll be here for just a little bit longer. You can do this as long as you like. During football season, I'll typically bust out the strap, lay on the floor, and put a game on. And I'll do 15 minutes up like this. I'll do maybe 10 out to the side, and then 5 across. And it's half an hour on one leg, and I'll switch legs. Doesn't require a lot of thinking, which is kind of nice. You can do this as intensely or laid back as you like. All right, so we got about 60 seconds left here with your right leg up. Right, we have this grip where we're holding the loops of the belt, pressing your left foot into the wall and extending your right leg straight, right? The toes of your right foot come back towards you. As you look at your right foot, your big toe and your pinky toe side of your foot are equidistant away from your face, right? So we don't have one side of the foot close, one side of the foot far. Just nice and balanced here. With the brick, let's take the brick, the pillow, whatever you're using for support, we'll put it outside of your right hip. You can put it to whatever height you like. It's supporting your leg as we open your leg to the side. Before you open your leg to the side, let's address the grip here. So we're taking the straps into your right hand, but first I'll pass them off to my left hand, and so I'll take my right hand and feed it from the outside through both of the loops here, turn my hand over, so now I'm holding both straps with my right hand, and the strap catches the outside of my right wrist. Again, push off with your left foot on the wall, open your right leg out to the side. So that was about 4 minutes straight up. We'll spend, I don't know, 2.5 minutes here. All right, and then we'll open up, we'll go across after this. So with your leg out to the side, what's important is that you're not tipping over. The foot on the wall helps anchor you in place. It should keep your left hip down, your left shoulder down. With your right leg out to the side, it rests, the outside of your right thigh rests on the brick. If you find it tough to relax here, right, you could always get the brick, move it a little bit further from your hip. And now as we take a peek at your right foot, we're going to look at some of the same mechanics here, right? So the external rotation of your right leg is represented by the line on the inside of your right foot and the floor. We want to make the inside of your right foot parallel to the floor. All right, so we're rotating your right leg out. All right, reach through your heel and then just take a look at your pinky toe and your big toe and make sure that they're equidistant from your face. Similarly with the leg out to the side as when you had it up, you can use the arm up to a certain point, so you can pull with your right arm up to a certain point. But after that, you really do need to use your right leg, right? Get it involved in stretching here. So you start to feel, or if you don't, if you've already felt it, the inside of your right leg stretches. There's a little bit of a stretch to the back of your leg. But here we work the inside, right? So we hit the back first, inside second, and then third, in just a bit, we'll hit the outside. All right, so we're rotating your leg, shoulders flat. All right, the grip here shouldn't be too stressful. And we'll actually use the same style grip that you have right now when we switch hands in just a moment. All right, so about 15 seconds, rolling that right leg out, extend, really think about reaching your heels away from one another. All right, take your left heel into the wall and take your right heel and just reach it as far from your left heel as you can. Then bring your right leg back up to center. And as I mentioned a second ago, we'll change hands, but we'll keep a similar grip. So we'll take your left hand now, feed it through both loops, make an overhand grip, take your right leg, and just put your right foot over top of your left hip. All right, so we're moving your right leg about, 8 inches to the left. It's not a ton. With your right leg now, turn your toes back to the right. So this is the outside. You should start to feel here, right? Just the outside of your right leg. From your hip to your knee, you may feel it on the other side of your knee, on the lower leg side of your knee. Right, but rotating out here. All right, press your foot into the wall. That left foot into the wall, right leg up towards the ceiling. All right, relax your head, relax your neck. If you find that as you're here, you press your head into the bolster, just let go. All right, so we did 4 minutes straight up, about 2.5-ish out to the side, and that will make this about 90 seconds just across here. But again, you can split this up. 90 seconds is usually a good barometer for how long you should hold things. But whatever works, works. Okay, so we'll take your right leg now back to center. We'll take the loops here and we're gonna bring them back into both hands. Then bring your left foot up and replace your right foot with your left foot. Take your right foot down, put it into the wall, and just for a sec here, put both loops into your left hand, move your brick over outside of your left hip. If you're using a timer, you could always reset your timer, and we'll restart here on the second side. So, right leg straight, left leg straight, right? Point the toes of your left foot at your left shoulder. If you find that your left leg's really tight and your knee bends and shakes, just back off a little here until you feel a stretch that's something you can hold for an extended period of time, and progressively we'll work to get your leg up towards center. Right, as you get your leg up, take a look at your toes. Notice if your big toe is close to your face. Make whatever adjustments you need to make in your ankle. Right, and with your arms, right, we can get them to a point here, but we also have to use your leg. The name of this pose, or this sequence of poses, is Supta Padangusthasana, 1, 2, and 3. Supta is supine, pada is foot, and angusta is big toe. So it's supine hand to big toe pose. So traditionally you would have hooked your big toe with your, on this side, left hand, your index finger and middle finger. This is probably a little more manageable for the majority of folks. All right, pull your toes back towards your face, spread your toes apart, and with your heels, just think about taking your heels apart here, right? That left heel, the one that's up, reach it away from you, kind of up towards over your head. Your right heel, press it into the wall. The back of your right thigh, moving closer towards the floor. Relax your head and your neck. All right, if you have any tension in your jaw, let go of your jaw. With the strap here, sometimes because you have it doubled over your foot, there's this, if there's a side that's closer to the ball of your foot, you can give a little bit of a pull there directionally, and it will guide the front of your foot down, or you may find that it guides the front of your foot down. Flexing your ankle in that way can add an additional stretch to your calf. So for folks with really tight legs, just go easy on yourself, right? Don't, I wouldn't overstress yourself in this position, whatever's manageable. With the 10-foot belt, what's nice is that you can make a big loop and kind of throw it all the way around yourself and take your arms out of the equation completely. I'll show you that one at the end. This is also manageable with the handles here. I mean, this isn't something that should tax your grips too much. We want to stay active here, right? So push your foot into the wall, work a little bit on the pull with your arms, but also get your left leg involved here. Now I mentioned on both sides here, the leg that's down, you're moving the back of your right leg, in this instance, towards the floor. The down leg, the back of it moves towards the floor. Getting it to the floor is most likely not going to happen, especially if you have a butt. It's just the floor is far, the shape of your body is not meant to be that way. So it's a directional cue. Don't get hung up on trying to touch the floor with your leg. All right, we got about 20 seconds here, and then we'll open your leg out to the left side. So when we do this, we'll change your grips into your left hand. And as we open your left leg to the side, your shoulder, your right hip should all stay down on the floor. So let's begin to switch your grips. The right hand now, your right hand will hold both straps while you take your left hand, feed it through the loops, right? So I'm feeding my left hand through both looped ends of the strap here, and then turning it over. So now the belt is on the outside of my left wrist. All right. Anchoring my foot to the wall, my right hip to the floor. Start to open that left leg out to the side and rest it on the brick. Again, if you're not using a brick or you're using a bolster or a pillow or a phone book, whatever. Anything works here. It should offer a little bit of support and it should work to keep you from tipping over completely. And using much abdominal tension. Typically, when you practice this pose without the support outside your hip, what keeps your leg from going over is the contraction of your abs, which is good. If you want to practice that, 100% endorse it, have at it. For today, this is, like I mentioned earlier, this is like my lazy Sunday practice, where you just kind of sit down, back's tight, or you've been doing a lot of walking, and this just puts your spine in a good position. It gets your legs moving, stretches them out. Yeah, I fully endorse. So we got about another minute in this position. While we're here, you want to look at your left foot and adjust the rotation of your left foot. So we did this on the right side, we do it on the left side. You'll make the inside edge of your left foot parallel to the floor. And similarly with the toes, we want your toes to be equidistant here from your body. So without getting too technical, your foot can flex many different ways, right? Your ankle can flex many different ways. So we just want to make sure that if we were to pick you up, put you on your left leg here, that your leg and foot would be in a standing position. As you get into like more yoga, if you do, these shapes are analogous to like triangle pose or half moon pose, Ardha Chandrasana or Utthita Trikonasana. And this is just another way of approaching a shape with different amounts of load in your leg. Okay, that's been about 2.5 minutes with your leg to the side, so it's time to take your left leg up to center. We'll switch your hands, right? So we'll switch the grip now over to the right hand. Right foot's pressing into the wall. Your left leg, we're taking it across the midline of your body here. Right, across the midline of your body, so your left foot should be over top of your right hip, your right leg. Don't get too hung up on this, right? Is when you feel something, right, then you know you're moving in the right direction. And feel is a great barometer for what's going on in your practice. If I say something that doesn't make sense, don't get hung up on it. Now, with your left foot, turn your toes back to the left. Shoulders are flat on the floor, hips are flat on the floor. That right foot's anchored into the wall. Imagine you're standing here. Right? There's also a standing series. It looks just like this if you stand yourself straight up. Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana, extended hand to big toe pose. All right? Rolling your left leg out. And we're pulling a little with your arm here, right? But also using the muscles of your left leg, right? So we're actively using your left leg here to stretch the back outside of your leg. You should feel this through the outside of your left leg here. All right, so about 30 seconds, and then that's it. The whole thing is about 16 minutes. It's quick. You can expand it to however long you like. If you hang out, I'll show you how to do this with a 10-foot strap, or why a 10-foot strap is good to have here. First, let's bring your leg back to center. Bend your knee, take the strap off your foot. You can put the strap to the side, and then bend both knees, take your knees into your chest. If it hurts to grab in the front of your knees, you can grab in the back of your knees and just pull in here. Okay, real quick with the 10-foot strap, let me just unloop this and then rebuckle it. With the 10-foot strap, you're able to make a cinching, like a big cinching loop, all right? So what I'll do is I'll take that loop and put it over top of my head and around my upper back, all right? And then I'll put it around the sole of my right foot, cinch it down. And there's other things we can do for your neck and shoulders with this 10-foot belt, but for Supta Padangusthasana, this one's great. So if you're thinking about buying a belt, fully endorse the 10-foot one. I hope you found this helpful. If you do have time after this, I mentioned this in the other video, legs up the wall, all right, laying at the wall, legs up, lay on your back, You can throw in some music or a podcast or just lay here quietly. 5 minutes would be great, but whatever works for you. Hope you enjoy, and let me know if there's other things you'd like to see.